Views expressed in the following program.
All right, here we go.
Those of this station, its owners, staff, or management. The following paid program is sponsored by Azorian. Wondering who's in your cyberspace? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to the Charles Tendell Show, the show where you can learn how to protect your online business and personal information. Charles Tendell is a cybersecurity consultant and ethical hacker, and he's here to answer all of your cyber concerns.
Heads up, everybody. It's Peter Blows. It's 5 p.m. Get ready for Hacked. You got problems with computers, kids are being bullied, somebody's messing with you. How about dating online? Charles Tendell forgot more about computers than most people know. Get ready. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Charles.
You know, I always love hearing that. Peter Blows is awesome. Welcome. This is Hacked, the Charles Tendell Show on Denver's Money Talk 1690 AM. Interesting show for everybody today. It looks again like somebody got hacked and somebody's emails and other information got released out there. But we'll get to that here in just a minute. If you missed yesterday's show, I was talking to Mike Daughtry about Google censoring your search results. You can get that and other information over on the charlestendellshow.com. You can subscribe. You can listen to old shows. You can stay connected. You can interact by sending me an email to charles@thecharlestendellshow.com. Super creative guy here. If you want to stay connected. And good news for all of you people out there. Guess what's back online? It was broken yesterday. I was testing out some things and I accidentally broke it. The Facebook live stream. So if you're joining me and you're watching over on Facebook, hi Facebook people, interact, comment, share. It's all down below. You can get all of that and more over at thecharlestendellshow.com. Or if you've got your mobile device in your hand, you can download from your favorite app store, Android, iOS. I won't judge you if you're Android. I won't judge you if you're iOS. I will judge you if you're Windows or BlackBerry. And download the 1690 KDMT app from your favorite app store, and you can interact with the show and make sure that you know what's going on. You can listen to some of the other people in the KDMT lineup, Connect and Collaborate, Jeff Thompson, and Experience Pros, all good shows. Check them out in the 1690 KDMT app. Coming up later in the week, I am going to be talking about how the NFL hired a team of experts to make sure their players know how to accurately use social media, so don't miss that one. But today is yet another situation where somebody's gotten hacked, okay? And this time it's a little more up there. It's a little more interesting, a little higher up there. So it looks like the Russian government hacked into the Democratic National Committee and stole research, the opposition's research, on Donald Trump. So the Russian government says Russian government hackers penetrated the computer network of the Democratic National Committee and gained access to the entire database, the whole thing, of the opposition research on GOP presidential candidate Donald Trump. Now, the scariest part about this is they got everything from emails to personal information to research to everything that the Trump man has done, or at least the DNC had on Trump, but they had this for over a year. They were sitting on this kind of information for over a year. So they got hacked, they didn't know it, and they let these guys rummage around in their systems for well over 12 months. And this is insane. This is kind of the normal thing that we're seeing out there, but what kind of other political or other, hacktivist type things are going on that people don't know about? And joining me on the show today is the managing editor of the PopZera podcast and popzera.com, Nathan Evans. Nathan, welcome to the Charles Tendell Show, sir.
Charles, how are you doing?
I am well, man. Here. How are you?
I am extremely exhausted because I'm managing 1,000 people, and frankly, my website doesn't get hacked enough.
It doesn't get hacked enough? I can fix that. Do you want me to fix that for you?
Hey, if you're listening, Russians, please hack. No.
I mean, I can send it out to a couple of my contacts and get you all taken care of if you really want.
Look, to paraphrase, you're nobody until somebody hacks you, and unfortunately, I'm not deemed hackable enough.
Not deemed hackable enough. Well, I think you're hackable enough.
No.
I think you're hackable.
I appreciate that. I'd hack you any day of the week.
That's how you know you love someone. I'd hack you any day of the week. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use it on my wife.
Charles, most people think hacking is just like guessing a password. So,
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Trust me.
We'll see what happens.
So you've heard this news. You've seen this floating around that Russian government hackers hit the DNC.
Yeah, I feel like I'm I feel like I'm reading like a Tom Clancy book from like 1968 or 1972, if you know what I mean. You know,
all of his novels start this way.
Well, I'm just like I was like, is Nixon still alive? Is Nixon working with Putin? No, but this is not the first time we've heard this. I mean, it basically swims around the concept of as a continuation of the whole quote unquote Hillary email quote scandal, and whether a private server was safe unless the private server was hacked, if this and that. And I think what's happening now is that anytime you can add Putin to the mix, then I think you have an automatic story that can grab headlines, especially in the political cycle. It's just an attachment story more than anything.
Well, I mean, we've been loaded at the beginning of this week with a lot of huge headlines. So it's surprising to me that this isn't. It's not really surprising to me that this isn't making any even bigger news. But I mean, what kind of research do these cats do? What's in there that's so relevant that Russia is going to want it? And you know, that's like, hey, let's hack them just in case.
Well, I mean, the most pointless thing was that they quote unquote stole opposition research on Donald Trump. I mean, I could tell you what the Democrats' opposition research on Trump's going to be.
Right. We all can.
Racist, Hitler, racist, Hitler. That's it. That's it. That's all you need to know.
His toupee, which Megyn Kelly said wasn't a toupee.
Is it not a toupee?
It's not. Megyn Kelly went on national television in an interview and said, "No, it's real. I got my opportunity to get real close to him and got my fingers all up in there. It's real." And I was like, "Oh man, Megyn Kelly is seducing Trump."
The female equivalent to "it's real, I touched it" would be very inappropriate for radio. So it's one of those sad, unfortunate, single-sided prejudices that we males have to deal with. People want to touch our hair to see if it's real.
My hair's real.
I'm disappointed that Donald Trump's hair is real, because I was going to say that's a cure either for baldness or some sort of scientific experiment. But no, to me that's not politics.
Well, Nate, I'm up against the break, man, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is Hacked, the Charles Tendell Show on Denver's Money Talk 1690 AM. I'm talking to Nathan Evans, the managing editor of the Pop Zara Show and website and podcast. Don't go anywhere. We're talking about Russia hacking the Democratic National Committee. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You're clear.
Denver's Money Talk, 1690 AM.
Dad, I'm really afraid of what's happening with the economy. There's too much civil unrest, too much terrorism, and unstable global markets. I'm tired of riding the ups and downs of the market. It reminds me of 2008. I was caught off guard then. How do I prepare for the worst now? What'll I do if the dollar collapses?
You gotta stop worrying, son, and take action. It's time to think about a precious metals private storage IRA or an investment in silver with the Gold Silver Group. Like I said before, you insure your house, your car, your kids, and your life. Don't you think it's time to insure your wealth?
Call Gold Silver Group at 800-679-0870. Learn how easy it is to set up your own precious metals private storage IRA and how you can qualify for up to $700 in free silver. Gold Silver Group can satisfy any of your precious metals investment needs. Receive your gold and silver fully insured and privately delivered to your door. Call Gold Silver Group, 800-679-0870, 800-679-0870.
In the summer, it's hot in the upstairs bedrooms most of the day. My office is up there, man, and it's sweltering. So we use one of those big fans in the evening, but it pulls in too much dust and pollen. My allergies are going crazy. So my AC is running constantly, and the only cool place in the house is the basement. My wife's starting insisting we buy a new air conditioner. And that's when I called the people at Air Swap. Air Swap showed me my furnace and air conditioner are the right size for my house, and my air conditioner was working just fine. They adjusted the ductwork, created stronger airflow to distribute all that cool air in the basement, and this even helped us save electricity. The house is more comfortable in the winter, too. They reduced the big temperature difference between the floors, and now the upstairs is comfortable during the day and early evening. Yeah, I'd call Air Swap, 303-761-0729, 303-761-0729, and you can check them out on the web at air-swap.com, air-swap.com.
air-swap.com. That's 303-761-0729 or air-swap.com. Yeah, I'm really glad I called AirSwap. We now return to the Charles Tendell Show on KDMT, Denver's Money Talk, 1690 AM.
Little green bag. Welcome back. This is Hacked, the Charles Tendell Show on Denver's Money Talk, 1690 AM. If you've got a question for me or my guest, 303-632-4160. Number again, 303-632-4160. Will get you on and involved in the conversation. I got a phone call from a listener the other day that said, hey, I want to listen to your show more. How do I subscribe? But he sent it over on the CharlesTendellShow.com. So if you go over to the CharlesTendellShow.com, click the subscribe button. There are two really big ones right there in the front. You can subscribe with iTunes. You can subscribe with your favorite RSS reader. Or if you click the social button up at the top of it, you can find me over on Facebook, where I do live stream the show. Hi, Facebook listeners and viewers. And you can see it over on Stitcher and everywhere else there might be a podcast This Thing Goes. So you can find it. It's there. So there was that one call. So fantastic. But anyway, I am talking to Nathan Evans. He's the managing editor of the Pop Zera podcast and website. And we're talking about Russia looks like they've hacked the DNC and gotten a hold of a lot of information, specifically on Donald Trump. Now, Nate, so before the break, we were talking about what the types of information they might get on the Trump, right? I mean, they're after what his political views, which if you want a real intelligence on him, you can find it on Twitter, on his Twitter page, right? The real Donald Trump or whatever it is. You're going to find out, what else could you find out that he doesn't already put out there?
Well, it's funny because, other reports are saying that the quote unquote Russian spies, the Russians are coming, that they also targeted the RNC. They also targeted a bunch of other political action committees, which are also known as PACs, P-A-C. No word about them. I think the rationale behind reporting this is because what happened is there's already this sort of miasma of pre-existing political intrigue out in the political ether, and that is, as we talked about before the break, Clinton's email scandal and have they been hacked? And I know you and I have talked privately about this. About Guccifer, the famous hacker who's most notorious for basically convincing
guessing
the
a
world
password?
that ex-President George W. Bush could paint in a bathtub by releasing all his paintings. But a couple weeks ago he pled guilty to this. They brought him down to the United States, but he didn't go quietly. He mentioned that he did hack Hillary Clinton's private server, and recent disclosures by the government have acknowledged that Hillary Clinton's server, her private server, wherever it was, that there were hacking attempts. And I think there's been some miscommunication whether the hacking attempt was a hacking success. And we've known about this for a while, Charles, and so have you, that Russia claims to have hacked Hillary's server. And maybe hacking Hillary's server was just sort of an umbrella for saying we've hacked a whole bunch of stuff, and we just got this as part of the package. Now,
no,
again,
I think I've heard a lot of different things when it comes down to who Russia has hit, or who the Koreans have hit, or whomever has hit in the United States in reference to email or reference to personal data. But in the case of Hillary Clinton, Guccifer came out and said, yeah, I did it. Yeah, it was easy. Anybody could have done it, yada, yada, yada. But I and many of my colleagues felt, yeah, that's complete and utter garbage. Like, there's no way that, like the way he's saying it, everything that led up to him ending up in a jail cell, right, talking about Hillary Clinton's email and how easy it was, is all controlled. He had no reason to. He didn't sound scared. He didn't sound like a man who was facing any real jail time. And I don't even know what he was sentenced for. He pled guilty, but we haven't heard anything else about that. Now, if Russia did hack the DNC or the RNC or any of these other places, it's not. I don't even know if it's a big deal anymore, because everybody's gotten hacked. And yeah, with Hillary essentially hacking the internet and controlling Google and Facebook and all these other wonderful things, I don't know. Does it matter still?
Well, here's the thing. We're talking about it, and people are talking about the action of a government entity from an adversary, which Russia is now. infiltrating the private security systems of the United States corporations, businesses, and political committees, particularly when it comes to
is the DNC
a political
actually
campaign.
right? Is the Democratic National Committee, is that actually a government organization, or is that a private organization?
I think there's some leeway between the two. I think depending on who you ask, the idea is that they're a private party that seems to be protected by an enclave of pre-existing state and federal laws. I know in certain states and municipalities, the protectionism, like for example, you can like voting, for example, voting rights can be restricted to a particular party as opposed to switching parties. Again, it's one of those things where I don't think the media, I guess that includes myself, has put enough thought into divesting it. Well, welcome to the new media. We don't care. We just tweet, right?
Right.
RT
Tweet
hilarious. But here's the thing though, that everyone treats this cavalierly. And how many years have you heard stories about, oh, China hacks this and China hacks this? But that's it. That's it. I mean, there's nothing there. I mean, is there some sort of illegality of it? Think about this. If Guccifer hacked George W. Bush and he's going to prison, how come a government isn't held accountable for it? You know?
Well, that's the
we're
other
talking
aspect
about
of it.
Tariffs.
In any hacktivist organization, any state-funded hacker organization that would have to be of this size, right? That would have to be big enough to actually, or at least funded enough to undertake this level of an attack. Now, mind you, it could have just been a couple of geeks in a basement that happened to trace back to a Russian IP address. We're just assuming that it was Russian government. It's confirmed, but what most people don't realize is most of the internet in Russia is nationalized, so it's all owned by the government, and it could all be, everybody out there is technically could be the hackers hitting us. But for this to happen, they had to have a specific reason to target the DNC. They would have, Russia's not stupid. And you know what? America, I hate to say it, is so far behind the cyber game that if these cats pulled it off, it would be more than 12 months before you figured it out. Like, the only reason you're going to find out is if they told you.
Well, they're saying this goes back years, right? And here's the thing: Russia has made entreaties to say that they have successfully hacked American outfits. And here's the thing, though: when I listen to this, I hear about as much substance from the American media as I do from a Kim Kardashian tweet about lip gloss. Like I don't hear anybody talking with any type of sincerity. Exactly. And look, you have a toe in this water. In fact, you probably have a foot. So you probably hear the American press talking in generalities and way. It's like watching NCIS and hearing the absurdity when they talk about computer systems. Like, clearly the people, whoever wrote the show didn't do any more than a Google search about what these terms mean. I can't claim to know more either. I just know that when people say the Russians, all I hear is the big business, the big oil, the Chinese. If Donald Trump criticizes the Mexicans, and Hillary criticizes the Russians, we throw these countries and ethnicities under the bus because it's a political season, but there's never any facts to back it up. Mm-hmm. There's never any hard class evidence. There's never any implication that laws were broken. There's never any type of, does this signal a breach of contract in violation of Geneva or UN conventions? It's just general Call of Duty bull plop.
Well, so
frankly, maybe they have done it. I don't know.
So you brought up another really good point, and it's we're assuming that this is the Russian government. I love how, and this is over on, what is this? This is the Washington Post, right? The Washington Post. So they're relatively credible, news organization. You wouldn't think that they would go out and just want to create a headline for some clickbait. They would never do something like that. They're going to be a credible news organization, knock on wood. But they're specifically saying Russian government hackers. Now, I would love, and you know what, you're right, I agree with you. They're not giving us any real information. It's all pre-chewed and tasteless, and it's pretty empty. They're telling us it's the Russian government, but there's no way of proving that it's the Russian government. And it very well could have just been either geeks in a basement or a well-funded Russian company that might be contracted out by the Russian government or anything, or has some loose ties. When we hear things like this, where there's no additional information, there's nothing that's pushing it back, we absorb it, we take it. Most of the population see this and react to it. But when we hear about...
Understand that...
Go ahead.
Well, we're in a new Cold War with Russia, so to speak. And Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Committee and the Democrat Party has sided against Russia because of the Crimea and Ukraine situation. And so it's very easy to just sort of lambaste them with these generalities and create opposition. oh, the Russians hacked us, but we're disclosing this to you because we're honest about these disclosures because those, damn those Russians,
Yeah, we want to tell you that Russia hit us. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, it could just be a gamer. It could be an esports league out there trying to find stats on, World of Warcraft. I mean, it could be anything. We don't know. But, I mean, it could be nothing. It could be just some guy trying to VPN and trying to download porn through an American server. I mean, it could be anything. It could be nothing. It could be nothing. It could be nothing. And I think when you look at the case of Snowden and you look at the case of the way we've antagonized sort of our Russian relationship, and for good reason in some cases, but in a political year, to hear these sort of generalities coming out of a major organization to try to demonize a country, bring some facts.
Well,
bring some stats.
You brought up Edward Snowden, so that raises a good question. You brought up Edward Snowden, and all of these hacks, all of these attacks are happening post Snowden. They're becoming more how you say noticeable and more prevalent post Edward Snowden and his wonderful leaks. But even in that particular case, Edward Snowden is in Russia. Edward Snowden is sitting in probably a hotel somewhere or whatever it is in Russia, and it's being said that no, he's not leaking our secrets to the Russian government. Is it? Could it be reasonably speculated that Edward Snowden has anything in connection with this, or if not, what?
Edward Snowden is Edward Snowden is like Steve Wozniak. We all know who Wozniak is, right?
The Woz, yes.
Whenever you want to talk, we love the Woz. He's cuddly, but he's worthless as a prognosticator because he has no. Because he's worthless. Like, people always ask him to comment about Apple. The man hasn't been involved in Apple in 30 years. So when it comes to Snowden, at best, Snowden had information 4 or 5 years ago. I think his information and clearance has been dry for a very long time. But he represents symbolic breach of American trust by government to individuals. So, of course, let's drag Snowden out because the name has some cachet. It's funny. Hillary Clinton, in her big speech about a week and a half ago, she mentioned Putin. She specifically mentioned Putin in relation to Donald Trump because they talked about the world's despotic leaders like the North Korean, mini-me, and they talked about Putin and they talked about others praising Donald Trump. And here we are, in less than 2 weeks later, another story connecting the Russian government and what looks like pro-activities for Donald Trump.
Now, here's the question.
And so
wait. Now, is it pro-activity for Donald Trump? They hacked the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, not the RNC. Now, they've probably attempted this. They probably chased that all down, and they've probably tried to figure out whether they could or not. But they're attacking essentially Hillary's party to find out information on Donald Trump. Now, from what I've understood and from what I've seen in the past, this isn't the first time that they've done this. They usually do it when they're looking at the potential opponent or the potential successor, the potential next president of the United States. Are they looking for information at Hillary Clinton, or are they simply looking for information on Donald Trump to see if because they think he's going to be the next one?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the story is very vague about whether they were successful at breaking into the RNC.
Oh, no,
I mean, maybe
they
broke into the RNC.
They were successful. They were able to gain access to the entire database of the opposition research, and it looks like they did it for
no, from the RNC.
Oh, from the RNC.
They mentioned that the Russian spies made entreaties to get into the RNC as well. Here's the thing: with all due respect to Donald Trump and the Republicans, I'm pretty sure that the research lab at the RNC on Hillary is pretty much a empty Big Mac box. I think Donald Trump is winging the whole thing. And that bull in the china shop method has done him well during the primaries.
Nate, the music means I'm up against the break, man. I'm sorry it keeps creeping up on me, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. I'm talking to Nathan Evans of Pop Zera about the Russians hacking the DNC.
Everything.
We'll be right back. This is Hacked, the Charles Tendell Show on Denver's Money Talk, 1690 AM.
You're clear.
Hey, people, Facebook page, all of you people out there watching this live video or the recording of it on whatever media you end up recording it on, comment, subscribe, talk to me, tell me how I'm doing, how you like the show, whether there's new information that you want to be talking about, or if there is a headline or something in the security space that you're interested in and you'd love to see on this show, Go over to the CharlesTendellShow.com, subscribe, go to the Facebook page, subscribe, watch the videos, join the group, like the page, or any of the other social media, and hang out with me. This is the Charles Tendell Show on Denver's Money Talk, 1690 AM.
What you doing, Charles?
That's my Facebook page.
I've
got a live stream going on the Facebook page, and the people that watch it, I talk to them too.
Hey, this is Eric, and on the next
It's cool.
radio show, what do you do when someone wants you to do something for free? Oh, we're going to talk about it, and I'm telling you, you don't always have to give the 5-finger discount. That's right here on the next Experience Pros radio show.
The Experience Pros, Eric Raymer and Angel Tussey, weekday mornings from 5 to 8 on KDMT, Denver's Money Talk, 1690 AM.
Don't miss a minute of Market Wrap with Mo Ansari, the daily show that brings you the latest financial news, expert guests from around the world, and answers to your financial questions. If you missed the show on the radio, get the Market Wrap app and listen at your convenience. Just dial pound 250 on your cell phone and use the keyword Talk to Mo. Once you have the Market Wrap app, the show will download automatically to your smartphone every day. So dial pound 250 on your cell phone and use the keyword Talk to Mo to get the Market Wrap app.
You go to the parties, you see the shows, and you say, I wish I knew how to dance. Well, now you can learn. For a limited time, our chief bargain hunter has teamed up with Fred Astaire Dance Studios to bring you a special 15-lesson dance package for 50% off the regular price of $1,500. Visit denverhalfprice.com or just click the bargain hunter link on 710knus.com or krks.com for all the details to learn how you can finally learn those dances that will make you the hit of every event. That's Fred Astaire Dance Lessons for only $750, and the only place to find it is at denverhalfprice.com.
You keep wondering about refinancing options. You know rates are low, but don't know how to go about getting the best rate and best type of loan for your situation. What do you even need to get started? Wonder no more. Go to CherylAnswers.com. Cheryl of ALMC Mortgage has put together a checklist of what you need to know and frequently asked questions when it comes to your mortgage. Get answers. Go to CherylAnswers.com. CherylAnswers.com.
LMB number 100020432. NMLS number 266695. You can check the licensing status of your mortgage loan originator at Dora.
All right, here we go.
Now, back to the Charles Tendell Show on KDMT, Denver's Money Talk, 1690 AM.
So we can just let that one play. Because my daughter says this one is my new favorite song. So it's Jimi Hendrix. You can't not love that song. Welcome back. This is Hacked, the Charles Tendell Show on Denver's Money Talk, 1690 AM. I'm talking to Nathan Evans, the managing editor of the Pop Zera podcast. If you got a question for me or him, 303-632-4160. That number again, 303-632-4160, or get you on and involved in the conversation. Or you can go over to the CharlesTendellShow.com. You can click the subscribe button. You can click the listen live button. You can interact with the show or send me an email to charles@thecharlestendellshow.com. Or if you happen to be over on Facebook, listening, watching, they're watching me. Sometimes you feel like they're always watching you. Now, you can comment, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, tell everybody else on the Facebook page live stream. And lastly, if you're holding your phone and you don't feel like calling the number and you want to still get connected to the show, go to your favorite app store and download the 1690 KDMT app. You can listen to the show live. You can listen to the other shows in the KDMT lineup. You can listen to Connect and Collaborate, Experience Pros, Jeff Thompson and the Retirement Jock Show, all great personalities and great stuff. You can even send a text to me on the show live. And if you're polite, I might answer what you have to say. If you're not, I'm still going to answer what you have to say. It'll just be more politically correct because this is FCC regulated. If you want to hear the stuff that isn't, go over to the CharlesTendellShow.com and look around there. You'll find some. Anyway, the topic for today is it looks like Russia has hacked the Democratic National Committee to find out information on Donald Trump. Now, why? Nobody really knows because it doesn't really look like the DNC is going to ever, like everything you want to know about Donald Trump, you can find on Twitter. You can find it on Facebook. You can find it in every headline. I mean, just wait a minute. It'll come up. I mean, there's something there, you know, it's from his toupee to the size of his fingers or whatever it was. It's all out there. So you can look up Donald Trump. Now, Nate, before we went to break, we were talking about whether or not this is like Russia's involved, everybody's involved, but why would they hack the DNC to get information on Donald Trump? That's like you said, they're going to get like the research lab is an empty Big Mac box. There's nothing there.
Well, I was going to say, first of all, thank you for telling me who the intro music was, because the first thing I said was, wow, Taylor Swift is sure talented.
Oh, man. This might not sound like somebody hanging up on you.
Hey, I mean, whatever. He couldn't even play the guitar with his right hand. So,
Jimmy?
Yeah, he's left-handed, wasn't he? He played it upside down.
I have no idea.
Well, light my fire. So why do they want to? Well, let's go on the supposition that it really was "quote unquote" hacked, and there wasn't just a breach, or have access to anything that was politically volatile, so to speak. Let's have our big scheme against Donald Trump. Now, there's two parts to this question. If this hack was ongoing, so to speak, if it really was over a continuous amount of time, one, it shows the inadequacy of their protection, because if they knew about this for over 2 years' time and they did anything to stop it, that would put it somewhere along the timeline of the investigation, again, of Mrs. Clinton and her email server, because it sounds like if you actually read the government releases of the investigation, there's a certain arrogance to this. And when we talk about technology, we talk about security, we talk about BlackBerries, we talk about this, we talk about that. But one thing we don't necessarily talk about is the release of information that we consider non-trivial. For example, if the Democratic Committee wants to talk about Donald Trump, it usually comes into three things. One, he's insane, or he's incoherent, or he's racist, or some amalgamation of Hitler and Mussolini. Sometimes all of the above. It's a threefer. Bing, bing, bing. But what you don't necessarily hear about are the things that worry them. Like, for example, why is this insane, crazy, racist Mussolini Hitler doing so great in the polls? That's got to scare them. So there's going to be information
the DNC
about
would
Donald
know
Trump
that
that's
information.
real.
They wouldn't be able to put that kind of information together anyway, because nobody really knows. Correction.
Well, definitely there's going to be market focus testing, of course. I mean, the fact is, you can generalize all you want, not you personally, because you're a smart, awesome man, but morons in the media, other morons in the media, minus myself, we can generalize and say, well, Donald Trump's winning because he's getting all the whites, old, cranky white people, get off my lawn. Well, that's not true.
But he's not.
That's not true. Yeah, exactly. There's not enough white racists out there to get this. And the Democratic Party, love it or leave it, has definitely built a coalition of a lot of different disparate groups that are clearly not old white people. So if you're not a member of the old white brigade, then you're probably a Democrat, and that's statistically accurate.
Stupid.
I think I would bet on. Well, but it's the way it is. I mean, and the Democratic Party has done a masterful, wonderful job of uniting all these groups under the oppression that old white straight men are the reason for their failures. And there's some truth to that, just like there's a lot of negativity to that too.
Well,
whereas the Republicans have done a
that's the other aspect of it is let's take the race and the demographics out of it. The Democratic Party has sent out, that's all they do, is they say that anybody opposing them are the ones that want to oppress everyone else. Pick your poison: black, white, Asian, gay, straight, Mexican, pick your poison. The DNC is out there saying, look, we want to put you in these little groups and then tell you that this one group is holding you down and preventing you from doing anything. So it doesn't really matter who you are. But that's
well, I mean, go back to white privilege for a second, not to get too much in the ideological wild weeds. But the fact is, white privilege is the concept that because white people have been dominant, and if we're really looking at white privilege, you'll notice white privilege never extends to white females. It always extends to white males. Because again, white males is a term of, it's acceptable racism. It's an acceptable slur that can be used for all your problems. It's like abracadabra. It opens up every door. It's more useful than Visa, MasterCard. Hey, why don't you have a job? Old white men. I mean, what about the Supreme Court? Old white men. Old white men. Old white men. It's a catch-all for all that ails you. It's magic tonic sold by the ounce. And so why don't you have a job? Why don't you elected? Glass ceiling. Why? Old white men. Look at the president, old white man.
Okay, so
That's
so
not
you're saying
necessarily true.
so you're saying that the reason that they would have stolen, that the Russian government would have gone into the Democratic National Committee to steal these cats, is because the DNC thinks that is trying to paint Donald Trump as the reason, as the old white guy that's oppressing all of these people. That's why he would even be irrelevant. Why the DNC would be a relevant target. Like, I'm sorry, if I were going to hack to find out information about Donald Trump, I know his Twitter account. Okay, I'm pretty sure with the resources that would have taken at least the time, the energy, the effort, or even so, what probably happened here was one of the staffers at the Democratic National Committee, clicked on an incorrect link, punched in some information, and voila, opened the kingdom, or walked some malware in there. I can point the same thing at a staff member at the Donald Trump campaign, and I can get malware and access to everything he's going to be doing. So it doesn't seem like a smart place for them to have attacked.
Well, hear me out. I completely agree with you. I do not think there's any chance in Donald Trump's utopia that there was some sort of clandestine, intricate Ocean's 11 style, passing the USB stick, under a table and in the hallway in a bathroom, and click this.
If you get caught using this, you don't know me, right?
So, exactly. Well, no words. You never notice. No one ever talks. It's just it's like you go to the guy on the bench and you just leave the package and leave. No, I don't think it's that way. You know why? Because have you ever used a PC? Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen Grandma try to download a recipe? Mm-hmm. Grandma could take a pristine, brand new computer out of the box and have the thing rancid in about 5 minutes if she's not careful. It's not hard to get malware.
It's
not hard at all.
It's not at all, and that's what
that's hard.
And that's what I'm saying is, so this is the way this headline is written, the way this looks is, it seems like they're saying that the Russian government specifically targeted these cats, but we don't even know if it is really the Russian government. One,
exactly.
Two, we don't know if they were a specific target, because like if you go on the dark web, and I'm doing the air quotes just for you Facebook people, okay, if you go out on the dark web, right? If you go out on the dark web, you can find, loads. You can find just millions of accounts for a couple of $100. You can get millions of logins and usernames and passwords from leaks all over the dark web. And I'm sorry, most of them are sold by Russians. It's not necessarily the Russian government. It's all, it's give me a Russian guy who's got computer skills.
Well, let me ask you this. What if the whole thing was a misunderstanding? What if the whole thing was just some, dreamboat girl trying to download like a Thor, from Marvel, a Thor fan pick, and she accidentally downloaded Tor. Whoops! Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, she's got a whole VPN set up. I mean, with geolocation, I could be Russia. Mm-hmm. I could be running a VPN out of Russia right now.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
come and buy my stuff. Yeah, I mean, again, it's so vague. And just to be clear, the preceding 5 minutes of me ranting about old white men, I believe the story is bullplop. I do. I think we're not being told anything. I'm having fun with it, but the idea that the Russians would be specifically targeting to be against Donald Trump, again, I think there's some political cachet here.
I hate to keep doing this to you, man, but we are up against the break. Don't go anywhere. We've got a question. I've got one question for you as to why they might have done this again. Don't go anywhere. This is Hack, the Charles Tendell Show on Denver's Money Talk 1690. My guest, Nathan Evans, and the Russians hacking the Democratic National Committee. We'll be right back.
You're clear.
Denver's Money Talk, 1690 AM.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, or have years of unfiled tax returns? Perhaps you're receiving threatening letters, having your wages garnished, or visited by a revenue officer who has the power to close your business and freeze your bank accounts. This is why you need protection and immediate representation from the experienced professionals at Community Tax. Our highly accredited team of tax professionals has over 50 years combined experience negotiating with the IRS and states for the best possible settlements allowed by law. We can stop liens, levies, protect your savings and your business. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, and even your Social Security check. Call now and see if you qualify for programs designed to provide struggling taxpayers significant relief, and in some cases, save you thousands of dollars. No games, just the best representation possible. Call now. 800-887-4960. 800-887-4960.
That's 800-887-4960.
Colorado has the most dynamic business people. Join us on 1690 Denver's Money Talk every Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. for Pro Business Colorado. Dave Tabor will be speaking with Colorado's dynamic business people who will share their stories of
How we doing, man?
fascinating insights on what goes on behind the scenes, tips and advice.
How's the weather there?
Business insights. Join us on Denver's Money
humid,
Talk,
but
1690 a.m. every Saturday.
Cool.
10 a.m. to be inspired, motivated, informed, and entertained with people who believe in the entrepreneurial dream.
Yeah, new car shopping?
Oh, great. There's a nice day wasted. I'd rather take a hit with a ball-peen hammer between the eyes than drive all over town.
Well, it's what one does when one car shops. I thought you liked shopping.
Shopping, not driving. Hey, speaking of, how about we go to the mall instead?
What? And this day had so much potential.
Yes, sir.
Colorado.com. Local dealers with local inventory online. A virtual click away.
I'm ready to.
I think it's this is it. You're coming back right now, and
We now return
you're on time.
L Show on KDMT, Denver's Money Talk, 1690 AM.
If you're watching on Facebook, I'm dancing. If you're in your car and you're listening to the music, you should be dancing too. Well, keep your hands on the wheel and dance. Just kind of wiggle around there. You'll be all right. Welcome back. This is Hack, the Charles Tendell Show on Denver's Money Talk, 1690 AM. I'm talking to Nathan Evans, and we're talking about the fact that it looks like Russian hackers, there's my air quotes, hit the Democratic National Committee to get information on Donald Trump. And if you got a question, you people, all of you out there, 303-632-4160, or head over to thecharlestendellshow.com, click subscribe, send me an email, charles@thecharlestendellshow.com. Coming up later in the week, we're going to talk to some people about why the NFL hired cybersecurity experts to teach the players how to use social media securely and what you should learn about it. We're going to talk about a business that was fined over $1 million for not having the proper policies and procedure in place to protect themselves, and no, their insurance didn't matter. Yes, they got hacked, but they got hacked in an interesting way because somebody else was using a private server. And we're going to talk a couple of other things this week, but today's topic is the RNC got hacked by what looks like Russia. No, sorry, the DNC got hacked by what looks like Russia over Donald Trump. And Nate, so right before the break, we were talking about why would this be relevant? But I've got an interesting question for you.
Well,
hold on, I've got a better one for you. Would they hack the DNC because they think that Hillary Clinton isn't going to be the next president of the United States, and they're more worried about Trump?
You know, there's a GIF online, a very cute little, one of those little memes, not a GIF, sorry. And it's this cute little girl, and she looks like Indian, and the little line under it says, "Why not both?"
Porque no dos.
Why not? Yeah, exactly. So why not both? And one thing I think we haven't considered, and again, you'll have to apologize. I haven't spent 4 years on this story, but a couple of things. I'm rereading the story as it originated from the Washington Post and all this stuff, and I noticed a couple of things that always stand out to me. Mm-hmm. One, if you actually look at the sourcing of the story, it's not really specifics. They mention two things. They mention security experts who responded to the breach. Mm-hmm. Now, security experts responding to the breach, that's like a doctor telling your ex-girlfriend you got herpes. Mm-hmm. It's like, why would the fixer talk about someone else's problems? And I noticed in the story there are two mentions of the security firm itself. It's called CrowdStrike. Mm-hmm. It's mentioned exactly twice. The first time it's mentioned by the story. The second time it's mentioned by Democratic head Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Right.
It's very rare that type of branding is specific into this sort of thing. There's a specificity that makes it sort of an outlier to a normal story. And you look back into CrowdStrike a little bit, and you'll notice some interesting things. One, it's completely backed by Silicon Valley investors, mm-hmm. including Google, mm-hmm. Google Finance. It's got relations to a lot of other Silicon Valley goodness. Mm-hmm. Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos. This story is very specific. This could just be a sponsored content. It could be an advertisement for CrowdStrike.
It could be an advertisement for CrowdStrike, but let's throw another one in the mix for you. So over the weekend, I don't know whether you know about this one, but I've got WTF America, right? And on WTF America, mm-hmm. which you can find at thecharlestendellshow.com, I was talking about last week, Thursday, and I talked about it yesterday with Mike Daughtry about the censoring and everything that happened with Google and Hillary Clinton, right? Now, this isn't a crazy conspiracy theory, but Just so happens that after that story broke, the source of it went dark, which is understandable. Legal people, right? Legal people happen.
Mm-hmm.
But then we start hearing about all this other stuff that says, oh, yeah, let's forget that Hillary Clinton might be in bed with an organization, right, with a technology company that has the ability to manipulate the internet. And then we hear about CrowdStrike and back up on their connections and where they're all going.
Yes, and I mean the entire argument against Hillary Clinton, aside from her quote unquote experience or her other things, has been her email server, and frankly, it's a tiresome thing. And she's not going to be indicted. She's not going to happen.
Mm-mm. Nope.
And it's not going to happen. Republicans, I mean, you did this to yourself. You screwed this up. It is not going to happen. President Obama is not going to endorse someone and hang his legacy on someone who's going to be indicted. It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. It's over. And
So,
that's one of the things. That's one of the things that I've come to grips with. But I mean, the more and more I see about it, I've got another buddy of mine who said flat out, Hillary is going to be the next president of the United States, and I cringe because I'm like, I'm really not looking forward to being lied to any further. But whatever. That's how it's going to roll.
I mean, you get used to it. You get used to it.
You get used to it.
I mean, Donald Trump is no better. I mean,
No.
they're both reactions. But hear me out. You're exactly right. You and your friend are exactly right that the influence of Silicon Valley under this. Now, we've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
The website that I help manage, we've covered this, and I've been a thorn in their side as well. The infiltration of venture capitalists with what they call netroots, aka social activism, which are, by the way, 99.9% progressive. They have been doing this crap for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
They started from the bottom up. They're almost entirely in the tech world, and they've bubbled up. And Google, Amazon, all of that stuff, they have infiltrated Washington lobbyist groups like you would not believe. And by the way, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who I told you about just a little bit ago, she, under President Obama, have lifted the restrictions on lobbyists to give money to political campaigns for this political season, which is something Obama fought against, but no one talks about because, A, the story so just seem to be so pro Google, so pro Amazon, while specifically being anti Apple and all this thing.
Well,
and for anybody who thinks it's a conspiracy, it's not.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
not.
it's all the stories are pro Google and anti Apple, and all of the stories are pro whatever company it is that happen to be tied to these people. But that's not really the main difficulty. That's not really the main what I was getting at. It's why? I mean, it seems a little stupid. If I were going to hack anyone, right? If I were going to hack anyone, I wouldn't go after Hillary Clinton, is what I'm getting at. Hillary Clinton and the Democrats seem to control all of the hard-hitting technology. CrowdStrike, for example, right? We're looking, Google, for example. They're in bed with all of the heavy hitters, with all of Silicon Valley. If I know that's what's going on, why on earth would I swing my stick in front of their house? Right? Like walk up to the camera and be like, I'm going to hack you. Look at me. Why would I do that?
Well, because it could be inoculation. I mean, like a vaccine for anything is basically a little bit of the disease, right? I mean, if the criticism against Hillary is that she's hackable and she's incompetent, this puts the Democratic Party and specifically Clinton's campaign out in front and said, "See, we stopped it. See, we can protect ourselves against those nasty Russians."
So they're gearing up to spin this back around. You see what we're doing? We can handle cybersecurity. We're capable of it, even though my private email server came into the main node of the planet because we got hacked. Now
maybe. Plausibly,
we can handle it. We got the right people to handle it. That's a good way of thinking of it.
We're talking about whether or not the millions and millions and millions of voters actually care.
Mm-hmm.
They don't follow this stuff. All it is it's chum for the sharks, Charles. You believe what you're going to believe. If you believe Hillary's an immaculate, orchestral, angel who was completely innocent and completely, not involved in hacks and email servers, you're going to believe that. And if you're a Republican, you're going to believe she's Satan.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is. And this huge distraction about meaningless bull plop that happens to every major company, every major business, doesn't help your side, doesn't help the conversation about hacking and protection, and it also doesn't help the political conversation because it has nothing to do with nothing, and that's what's really sad, and that's really kind of the state of this political cycle, is that we're talking about nothing. It's like Seinfeld wrote the episode, and it doesn't get us anywhere. And again, hack Trump. Why? He'll do it for you. He'll give it to you.
He will give you everything you want. I bet you $10. I bet you $10 his secret word is like his cat's favorite toy or something. I will bet you money that you could hack Donald Trump in a matter of seconds. Now, I'm not condoning that. Facebook people, I'm looking at you. No one out there, and all the people who are going to be watching this video later when I post it over on YouTube and on the CharlesTundellShow.com, do not go hacking Donald Trump. I'm not condoning that. Don't do it. Okay? And I don't think Nate's condoning it either. I'm just saying.
No, I'm not. But if you can,
if you can, let's have a conversation about it.
But let me say this though. I'm taking devil's advocate and assuming all this is true.
Okay.
If they're going to go through the trouble, then there's opposition research in there that would indicate a nuclear option, so to speak. Like, what if Donald Trump is popular? What if he rises in the polls? For example, good example. The Obama administration has famously not said the words Islamic terrorism, for example, right? Hillary Clinton refused to say it. Donald Trump, blah, 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 blah. He said it. Hillary said it. She said it, but only after Donald goaded her. That's not an example of leadership. That's an example of following the Twitter trends. So the question is, what sort of strategy can we use against Trump? Because there's no denying it, Charles. He's a popular guy.
He's very popular.
Anybody listening who thinks he has no chance of winning the presidency, you're crazy. He has a chance. Hillary is
got a really good
the
chance.
Democrats have ever put up.
He's got a really good
worst
chance.
Since Mondale. He's got a good chance, especially, God forbid, there's more terrorist acts.
Oh.
And so what happens is, God forbid. So what I'm saying, though, is that Hillary Clinton is a smart cookie. Think whatever you want about her. She is a polished, efficient politician on certain things. And I guarantee you they have a dossier on how to attack Trump logically and not haphazardly. All you have to do is listen to the shrill, as Trump would call her, Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren.
Oh.
She's a useful idiot. She will come out there and screech like Donald Trump. She'll say stupid things that have no basis, and it sounds good, and she's Hillary's cipher. She could do this. Hillary's not going to get out there and talk like Elizabeth Warren.
Mm-hmm.
She is cold and calculating, and she's a smart lady, a very smart person, and she knows she can't get her feet in the mud. She can't win that game. She can't de-escalate herself to Trump's bullying. I mean, look at the Republicans. Trump vanquished every one of them when they went down to his level.
Well, we could go around and around on this one because this is just crazy. I mean, it's very convenient. They picked a really lousy target. CrowdStrike came out real quick. Maybe I'll get somebody on CrowdStrike's team to come on the show and clarify it. But I want to give you a minute to go ahead and tell everybody how they can find you because we're almost out of time, and I want to give you that chance. So tell them about it. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Well, I am at CNN.com. My name is Anderson Cooper. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm sorry.
Mr. Cooper.
No, you can. Thank you. No, thank you, Charles. No, I am the managing editor of PopZara.com. It is a website that has a very colorful, cartoonish, anthropomorphic dinosaur, so you're not in the wrong place. That's PopZara, not Pop Stars. One of them is more popular, and I wish it was us. We cover video games, technology, politics, all the cool stuff, including this kind of stuff, in a very non-controversial, no safe space kind of way.
1 minute.
Say hello to Corey, Herbert, and Grayson, who are boots on the ground in California at E3 right now in Los Angeles. You guys are doing the hard work, so I don't have to. Thank you.
Right on. Well, Nathan, it's been fantastic having you on the show. I always enjoy talking to you, and I will have you again. So thank you for being here, man.
You are welcome, and everybody have a good week.
You too. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Nathan Evans, managing editor of the PopZara podcast over at PopZara.com. We were just talking about the Russians supposedly hacking the DNC. There's a lot more information out there that we're going to need to figure this all out. So go out and do your own searching. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about breaches that cost people millions of dollars because they didn't have the proper procedure. This is and has been Hack, the Charles Tendell Show on Denver's Money Talk 1690 AM. If you want more, go to the CharlesTendellShow.com. We'll be back here tomorrow, and I'll see you then.
You're clear. Nice job, man. Have a great day.
T. Arvada, Denver.
We're
all
Great night.
Denver's all new 1690 AM.